So I'm making the meat pasties now with hot water pastry. So I'm just putting the 6 ounces of margarine and a third of a mug of water in. I've put a bit of salt and pepper in the flour, and I'm just combining the hot. Remember, this is hot because obviously I know it sounds silly, but it's sometimes because you're doing pastry, your head isn't in a hot mode. I know it sounds weird, you've just poured it out of a saucepan. So here we go, we're going in. Now I'm going to now put a free range egg in, the whole egg, which I changed because I used to just put a yolk in, but this actually seems to work better. I know people think I'm obsessed with pastry, especially hot water pastry, but it's just because I've done various fillings. So I've recently just uploaded a lentil pasty, which is brilliant for veggies. Well, it's brilliant for everyone really. We really enjoyed it. So, and we're not lentil fans, I've got to say that. We'll have a bit of dal now and again, but that's about it. So you'll see it start to come together. So this is okay, it won't need any extra water. Sometimes you might just need to add a touch of extra hot water because it depends on the flour. You think you know what you're doing, and then some flours seem to soak in more water than others. So here we go, so I'm going to tip that. Just pop that there, get the bowl into a massive pile of all the other bowls I've been using. Okay, so that's that was 1 pound of plain flour, 6 ounces of baking. It has to be baking margarine. If you can use 6 ounces of butter or 6 ounces of baking margarine, and I'm just using baking margarine because I would imagine people have more of that in their house. I lost my little doofah that's normally in there, so I'm going to put a bit of flour down because this does stick. I'm going to put a bit of flour onto my rolling pin. Okay, so I'm going to just roll out half-ish. And the pasties, then I use a 7-inch plate, which I haven't got out yet. Hang on. So what you want to do is, think about, you can see the bits of pepper in there. Doesn't matter that we've got all these lines in. Some of you might have seen this before. On various other recipes that I've used. So I'm going to film one of sausage rolls, but I haven't got any sausage meat at the moment, and I'm not going to do a special trip. You know, we're all keeping our trips to a minimum at the moment. So here we go. I'm going to try and get, you can see this is quite, because it's quite hot, you can see it's coming apart a little bit. Sometimes that happens. Okay, right. So, knife. So this is number 1. Okay. And you can see there's a few little cracks in it and things. Pop that over onto a floured surface. Number 2. Just see I'm not being overly precious with it. You see that slide? Starting to stick a bit, so a bit more flour on. Okay, and I'm going to put that back with the original, the other half, so it just moistens it up a bit. Okay, so we're going to go again. I'll just put that over there. So bear in mind whatever shape you're making. So if you think that's there, let's put a bit of flour on my rolling pin. Get a bit of flour there. So going longer here. Don't know what that is. Oh, that's a bit of mince actually. Doesn't matter.
Just thought it was jam or something.
Collecting stuff as we're going along. Before you start this, always make sure that your worktops have been anti-back down because you're working direct onto the surface, and then make sure you haven't got any of that spray left. Okay. There we go. I'll show you the thickness. Now the reason I'm working fairly quickly with this is because hot water pastry, for those of you who haven't seen any other videos, it sort of degrades a bit with flexibility as time goes on. So you have to move pretty quick. Well, not super quick, but you know, just get a move on with it. Putting all my bits back together. So that's 4. That was a little bit thin, to be honest. We might have problems with that one. As you get used to it, you can tell what's going to work and what isn't. And as you can see, I've done a lot of pastry. Well, I've done quite a bit today, actually. So I've had a bit of sun in the garden, and now I am burnt myself, so I thought time to go back in and finish off. Yeah, because I generally spend my job's pretty much in a warehouse cave. I don't get exposed to the sun very often, so...
Like a Morlock.
Thanks. Now that's a bit thick, can you see there? It doesn't matter. I can give that a bit of a roll, be slightly bigger, that one. We're not winning any competitions with these, we're just doing them for the family. So, and they'll just be grateful. A lot of the time they don't even know what you're feeding them, to be honest.
Have we had dinner?
Yeah. Did we have lunch? I don't know. All the dinners are just blending into one another at the moment. Lunch, dinner, tea, we're just non-stop washing up. Okay, so got one more there. That's made 6. And that... Obviously, I've got my filling waiting. Now, I normally cook all my filling, but somebody said to me, "You're doing it all wrong. You should be using uncooked filling." So what I thought I'd do a taste test. So I've just taken a bit out, cooked it in the frying pan, and I think why this one would taste better is because the filling is browned. But I might be wrong, so I'm going to give it a go. So that's for one. Okay, so you can either glue them together with a bit of milk or water. They work equally well. Actually, I'm going to just put a bit of flour under that, because I have flour. Look at my flour, my precious flour.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rubbing it in now.
Yeah. So I'm going to get a massive spoonful, and then if I show you, we're going to come over, and this is why you need the flexibility of the pastry, because it doesn't matter if that happens, that's okay. And then you need to glue it together. And you can see I've got some splits in there. Probably I'm getting a little bit gung-ho with it, really. But when I put an egg wash on there, which I'll do now, it seems to just seal those up a bit, she says. Doo-doo-doo. That's it, you want to go all round. Now, I normally do this at the end, but I just wanted to make sure that that was going to seal that tiny thin crack, and it has. So that's number 1, uncooked filler. Now I should have really done the cooked one first, thinking about it. But remember, it goes back into the oven and gets another blast, so...
Just put a little mark on the pastry.
Yeah. Okay. Got a good mixture, so you've got the swede, leek, potato in there. I've seasoned it well because we like a good bit of taste. We don't like bland, so I've put lots of black pepper in, lots of salt. Well, you know, within reason. There we go. White pepper actually works quite nice in pasties too. I have been known to put apple in with pork mince. Don't know if I put it in with mince, but there we go. I suppose celery would work quite well, cut fairly small. The world's your oyster with these things. Okay, this has got a few cracks in too. I don't think with this one, with this pastry, because this is on, I don't know how many I made today, I think I just probably did not blend it together well enough. But I think it's, yeah, famous last words. This still might work. Okay. I give that a bit of a roll. This one looks a bit bigger. You can see there's a little bit of cracking here. It's not on the other side, so it should be okay. Okay, and this one's going to be a bit bigger. This is Davin's because he likes
2-hand pasty, please.
Yeah. So this one is be a bit more generous. Go round the outside. You can do this before or after. I normally find before is better, so you don't trail everything round with the brush. Let me turn that round so you can see. Press, press, press. That grunting's Bob leaving the room. It's very vocal, Bob. He doesn't do anything without noise. He's our sort of in between a corgi and a Jack Russell Rescue, and he just verbalises everything he does, a bit like me really, and he's like now. That's what I imagine he's saying. Too much sun, obviously. I'm off. There's no food for me, I'm going. Bless him. I have to keep saying that because otherwise we kill him. Right, now be careful with handling these because obviously, you know, you can put your finger through. So that's another one. Ooh. As you see, I'm getting in a nice old mess. This isn't for people that like, that like everything neat. You're going to get in a mess whatever happens. So just go with it. Embrace the mess.
Make your peace with it.
Yeah. That's another biggish one. And we watched a programme on Ginsters the other day, and they have, I thought it was really interesting, they have pre-formed fillers, and obviously it stops this problem because their filler just gets sort of come down with a machine, and it's a certain size and it goes down. No such luck here.
The other good thing they did was that they recommend sort of slicing they flaked almost the swede so it would cook a lot quicker and more evenly.
Yeah, well, I've pre-cooked the potato and swede in this because of that. I mean, swede's like rock, it takes ages. So I cannot see that the swede would cook in this, even in 40 minutes. So I've actually pre-cooked that. Well, just parboiled till it was, you know, just off from being cooked. Okay. I've still got some left. I've got a bit of pastry left from earlier, so I use that for maybe trying to... You can see this one, don't know if you can see, this is too thin. I can just see... Oh, I forgot to... That's clever. Go around with a bit of glue. Okay, let's get this in. Now this might split, and sometimes it's good to show you what can go wrong. Yeah, it's splitting already. Because that was so thin, as it goes over the filler, it's split twice. So that just shows you. And I had some left, so I could have done that one a bit thicker. So that was a bit silly, really.
Bit of a patch-up job.
Yeah, if you don't, sometimes you've got to do these things wrong to know how to fix them. You know, it can't all, like the programmes, you see it all come out, and then you have your version and it looks like someone sat on it. Because they've got like people that make it look beautiful and cover it in engine oil for shine. Henry was telling me earlier, the food photographers, they do lots of clever tricks, and this is the reality. It looks like it's escaping. So how can I fix that? Oh, what I could do is do a fairly thin piece. I'm going to do some strips. I'll put a bit of egg on for glue, and then I'm going to, hang on, let me show you. I'm going to go round like that. It might split again in the oven. It's like, no, I can't do it, I'm too fragile. So, talking pasties. So it's got like a little belt on, look at that, bless.
Pepe le pasti.
Yeah, yeah, it still might still go. So we'll see after what that comes out like. There we go around. I made some earlier, the lentil ones. The pastry was a lot better with that one. So I don't know what the difference is. This is what I'm saying. Sometimes you crack it out and they're fantastic, and other times you do exactly the same. And it's a bit of a, not a fail, because you can still eat them, obviously. Oh yeah, so I've got this bit that's left earlier. That looks appetising, doesn't it? But I can make that into one more, I think.
Well, you've still got that, the cooked.
Yes, that's what I'm going to do actually. So what I'm going to do, a bit more flour. Here we go. Flour's like gold dust. Just wasting it.
Sorry, you've got another big bag in the fridge.
I know, don't tell anyone. I wanted to steal my flour. Now I know I've handled, actually I'm going to wash my hands because I don't want to put us at risk of whatever it is, because raw meat, obviously you don't want to handle raw meat and then handle cooked meat. I know it's going back in the cooker, but I don't know where tea towels. Just go on here. Okay, so this is the cooked meat one. So I'm going to put that on there, and obviously you can see it's different. And it's in areas it's browned. Although I browned the leek. Some of you are losing the will now. You're like, oh, just shut up. Here we go. And we're going over. Tuck that into bed. There we are. So just take off the edges. I'm trying to do this all in one. We don't do any retakes on these, we just do it in one, and whatever happens, sometimes there's dogs barking, going mental in the background, birds fly into the kitchen sometimes, it's all good. So I need to label that. So just so I know for future reference that this one is the cooked, I'm just going to put, I don't know, I'll put a leaf on it. So I'm going to make a leaf. Hang on a minute. Okay. Okay, so we'll put that bit of glue to hold it. So we know now that that one with the leaf on is the cooked one. I've still got some left, which I'll carry on with in a bit myself, because you don't want to watch me repeat things over and over again. We do have lives. But what I'll show you, I think some of you may have seen this before if you watched, egg wash. And I'll do another one, just tuck round there. This is best done on the tray. You just put these on a tray with greaseproof paper and some flour. Don't put them with oil, because what happens is they tend to get very greasy, and you don't want them more greasy than they are. So flour on there's great. We're going to actually look up a vegan substitute for the lentil pasties, to see if there's any options for washing and maybe putting into the pastry, because the lentils would make a really good vegan one, I think. Mind you, you've got spread in there, haven't you? Of course.
Yeah, but the this has got no, there's no milk in it or anything, I don't think.
Okay, well we'll look into that when we get a chance and see if we can offer a vegan option. So that filler that I made earlier, that was 380 grams of mince, half a swede, I think it was 2 or 3 potatoes, a very small, about that much of leek. That's made 6 good pasties, definitely make a 7th. So it's sort of gone a long way, and that would probably make one big pie as well if you wanted to do less effort. So I'll join you back again when these come out of the oven. Right, these are out of the oven. They've been on 170 for...
Well, just under an hour. Well, yeah, because they seemed to take a bit longer, maybe because the filling was colder, I don't know.
Yes, this had raw filling. Now you can see here, this was the belt one, and you can tell where it was too thin, it's definitely too thin on the top. This is the one that had the cooked filling, and then this is one that had a tiny bit left, so I put some of the standard filling in. So we're going to do a... There we are. So I'm just going to open them up, because otherwise it will scald our mouths. Now this one with the leaf on, this is the one that had the cooked filling in. There we are, and I'll just turn that. So you can see, cuts well. Pretty cooked on the bottom, that's okay. Obviously this one's slightly different because it's smaller. But we're going to have a taste and see which one we prefer. Now at the moment this is going to be scalding hot because it's just come out of the oven. To be honest, I don't know if this is a fair taste because this one has a lot... Maybe that looks...
I don't think there's much meat in it.
Yeah, that's really tight. This was like the last bits of pastry I put together. Should we test a one that isn't a little tiny one? Let's try the belt one. So it will look like it was wearing a belt. So we can do it.
Better.
Yeah, that's better. A better contrast. So we're going to try uncooked versus cooked for taste. So we'll let them cool down and then we'll do a taste test and see how they come out. Okay, so we're going for a taste test of pre-cooked filling, which was just gently fried in a pan, and uncooked filling. So Henry's going to, remember they're still quite hot, Henry. There we are.
It does.
So that's uncooked.
Very good.
Very juicy.
I think that's the difference is when it's uncooked, the moisture goes into the pastry.
I mean, it's not soggy or anything, but it's just moist. Like the meat is really moist and nice.
Okay, so because I normally do pre-cooked, and that's obviously why they're in the oven longer.
Still excellent.
Okay.
Yeah. The meat's not like overdone either. It's a bit like medium rare or something like that.
Okay, so right, put those bits down for
Lovely.
another time.
Well seasoned.
And then this one looks a little bit, so I'll go on this end. There we are. Remember, hot, hot, hot. Okay, so this is the cooked inner. Sorry about the eating noise, guys. If that.
No, it's still good.
Which one do you prefer?
I like this one a bit more though.
The uncooked filling going
It's a
in.
bit-
They seem to have a bit more.
But the pastry on this is way better.
It's lovely and crisp.
Okay, so maybe this just had a bit more egg wash because I had some in the top, middle of the oven and some a bit lower. But what do you think of the filling? Is there much difference in it?
This one's a bit drier than this one.
Okay, so in future we're going to go for uncooked minced pasties, we reckon. Okay, so that filling was swede, potato, leek, 5% fat mince, obviously all the seasoning. And it looks like
stock you.
Oh yes, and we put 2 oxos crumbled in. So it looks like uncooked is the winner. So, okay.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.